Hello and welcome to this session of Talking Tech, Girls and Women in ICT. My name is Aaliyah John and today I'm delighted to be representing Breakthrough Tech, New York in the capacity of a UNICC Wintern. And I'm so excited to be discussing tech and tech careers with Nicole Patterson, co-founder of the NGO and director of SheLeadsIT Caribbean Girls Hack. Talking Tech is a series celebrating girls and women in tech being recorded around the world between Girls in ICT Day 2020 and 2022. Girls in ICT Day is an international day marked on the fourth Thursday of each April. The objectives of this day are to help to create a global environment that empowers and encourages girls and young women to consider studies and careers in the growing fields of information and communication technologies. This series is brought to you by the ITU, UNICC, and the Office of the UN Secretary General's Envoy on Youth, and is in support of Equals, the global partnership of gender equality in the digital age. Breakthrough Tech is pleased to be a partner in this session today. To kick this session off, I am excited and honored to have this conversation with Nicole Patterson, a senior international development advisor with 20 plus years expertise. Nicole has focused her career in international development of micro businesses, women's economic empowerment, and tech for good advocacy. She is a co-founder of the Caribbean Girls Hack, focused on bridging the gender digital divide in the Caribbean, engaging and upskilling girls and young women across a total of 6 countries since 2017, engaging 5,000 participants to date, in collaboration with RSC Tech Clubs. I am super passionate about Caribbean development as well as bridging the gender gap in tech. So I'm honored to now shift to a conversation with Nicole, co-founder and director of Caribbean Girls Hack. Hi, Nicole. I'm so happy we got the chance to talk today.
Hi, Aaliyah. So great to be speaking with you also. And so happy to be a part of Talking Tech.
Great. Happy to have you. To start this off, I'll just start with my questions. So what island are you from? And what made you want to start SheLeadsIT and Caribbean Girls Hack?
Okay, so I am from Jamaica. I am from Jamaica in the Caribbean. And what made me want to start SheLeadsIT, or we also say SheLeadsIT, Caribbean Girls Hack being our premier project, is realizing that tech is the future. I am 1000% behind women's economic empowerment. And I'm very passionate about women's economic empowerment, and knowing that tech is the future, to me, it's very clear that a clear pathway needs to be there for girls and young women to excel and to thrive in technology. And so why did I get started with Caribbean Girls Hack? Well, I have with my co-founder partner, Bridget Lewis, we looked at ways that girls can get engaged in a bit of a paradigm shift, that being that they would move beyond just being users of technology to actually being creators of technology themselves as well. And so that's the idea behind the hackathon, which allows them to actually, be thinking creatively to tackle and solve an issue or a problem. And so it's the good hacking. It's the good hacking that they're working on doing.
Great. So that sounds like an amazing program, but I know it couldn't have always been smooth sailing. Have you encountered any challenges along the way? And if so, how did you overcome them?
Oh, that's a great question. Yeah, I mean, you can't imagine the challenges, right? Well, I tell you, I'll take the challenges back to actually a bit about the reality that the girls actually face, so the things like the challenge of 34.5% internet connectivity for the girls that we've been working with. We did a survey actually in 2019, we did a survey. And so this, and of course it's a sample, of the girls that were participating in the hackathon. And so that's one of the realities, that only 34.5%, and this is a representative survey, of course, because it's just a sample, have access to internet. So internet connectivity is one of the issues. Then also when you talk about, really being able to talk to the girls and saying that you have a valid, opportunity to be a part of the tech industry. They came back, and with the survey also, for instance, we found that at school that we find that 28.5% of our courses, that for those girls who are in the tech courses, they're mostly male. So these are some of the realities on the ground. What it means and how that translates, Aya, is that when it comes to the programs at schools, and especially even like going the next level from high school onto university, is that you find that the girls are saying, no, I don't want to do tech, So it's that initial resistance on their part to be involved. And one of the key things that we want to ensure also with Caribbean Girls Hack is that it's inclusive. So not inclusive, so inclusive beyond just the girls who are in tech, but those girls who may be in the humanities or in the creative sciences and that kind of thing. Some of the realities of challenges also is just being able to have sufficient contact with the girls, because again, the realities of internet connectivity. I can give you just a very brief example. We did a amazing training just recently with Equals, ITU Equals, and GSMA. And one of the things that was very important in that training, that Tech for Girls training, was to ensure that we had rural girls that were participating as well as girls in inner city urban centers. And guess what? End up being the thing that eliminated, or actually even with so much planning, that actually put off the girls from actually being able to do the training was internet connectivity, And actually, I'll tell you another thing that is a challenge, but I think that this one is changing very gradually and seamlessly, is parents thinking that, no, my girls should not be doing tech, because a lot of the to really explore and expand in technology and in the way that tech training is being done through the program that we're doing, it's outside of the classroom, and so what we've found, as with some of our other colleagues in the Caribbean, they've also said it, that parents are like, no, why is she doing that? It's only supposed to be during school time. I'm not comfortable with her, going off and doing these kind of things, especially when it comes to even like a hackathon. We had some students, I think it was 2 years ago, that were invited to be in a hackathon, Aaliyah. And we had a winning student, or rather a student from a winning team in rural Jamaica. And she was so excited. She wanted to come for the hackathon. It wasn't a hackathon being led by us, by another tech training entity. But it was a real, hackathon, like 48 hours, work through the night, straight to the next day, through the next night, whatever it is. And her parents were like, what? And where does she sleep? No. She will not be doing that. So that comes up as an issue, and you see the girls are very excited and want to do it, because the age group girls that Caribbean Girls program is focused on as girls from like 14 to 23. So of course, when you have girls, especially who are under 18, these are still some major concerns and some challenges that we face. But overall, we find that the students are receptive. We find that the whole community is very receptive to try and explore new opportunities for the girls in tech.
Wow, that's amazing. Wow. But you just give us some statistics of the gender disparity, but in your opinion, are some of the reasons for this gender disparity in tech?
Right. Well, you know what? I tell you, one of the biggest things. One of the biggest things is limited relevant content, right? So in other words, girls may be saying, or young women may be saying, well, what's actually there that I'm going to be using. And it's not really the girls, because the girls are into, you know, what you would call it, like gender neutral, right? So the gaming and that kind of thing that they're doing. But when it becomes young women, women who are actually going back to actually using the internet and that kind of thing, what we found in the same survey, again, they were saying that 46.7% of those surveyed said that they found that there was limited relevant content. So this is one of the reasons why we're saying, well, guess what? If there's limited relevant content, you don't have to wait for somebody else to put the content on there. The great news is, guess what? This is a very dynamic and fluid environment. You can create the content yourself, you know? So those are some of the things. The other reasons for the gender disparity is, I think, the misperceptions that you really need to be into the sciences, you know, so that you need to be into math and, you know, physics, that kind of thing. Both things of which I am very intimidated by myself, but we should not be. And as I was speaking with you earlier and giving an example, you know, even when I speak with some young girls and say to them, you know, well, you know, here's these tech activities that are taking place. Would you like to come and do them? They're free. So many girls in different places, Aaliyah, they say, oh, well, I'm not really into tech. So I just kind of laugh and say, yeah, because, you know, I mean, you have a mobile phone. Yeah, of course. And you have a smartphone. Oh, of course I have a smartphone. Yeah, but you only use it to just like call your friends on the phone and like text messages and things. I mean, you don't do stuff like make your own videos or create your own games or post your stories on Instagram page or even post on your YouTube. Of course. Like, well, that's tech. That's you using tech, you know? One of the things that I also always say to the young ladies is that we really need to stop thinking of it as a mobile phone, you know, and think of it more as a mobile computer, because that's really what it is. It's a computer in your hand, and you have the opportunity to use it to create content, to get your message out there. So those are two of the areas that I would say contribute to the gender disparity. And then the other thing I would say also is that the reality that we have in the Caribbean is that we just don't have enough girls who are going into tech in university, you know, and so it means on the flip side, on the end of the bachelor's program or the master's program, that you're going to have those very small numbers of women, young women coming out who have studied technology or who are doing tech with a part of their humanities course, that kind of thing, so that they would feel comfortable to actually go off and to be working in the industry. But I think that we're going to be seeing a change in that. And I think with a lot of the receptivity to the programs and the work that Caribbean Girls Hack has been doing, and with our partner RSC Tech Clubs and others, that we're going to be seeing more and more of that being changing. So let's change the conversation, or no, not change the conversation. Let's move into another part of our conversation. And I want to know from you, Aaliyah, because as we're talking about girls getting into tech, how about you? When did you get into technology? How did you get into technology?
Okay, so honestly, in high school, I had the best IT teachers who were actually women. So it's always been one of my favorite subjects. When I got to Form 3, my class was chosen to be sort of the guinea pigs for this accelerated math program. And
Mhm.
although it was a quite challenging experience, that's where my love for math kind of developed and the rush for solving problems. And I knew that I needed to incorporate that in some way in my future career. In addition to that, both my parents actually worked in the criminal justice field for all of my life and most of theirs. So I was always kind of enamored with the intricacies of the criminal justice system. So I wanted to find a way to kind of mix both of those passions. And in community college or sixth form, when I started looking in two degrees to do for my bachelor's, I saw John Jay College of Criminal Justice, and I saw that they had a degree in cybersecurity. So just
Mm.
like that, I hit the jackpot, and the rest was history. While I was getting into tech, actually, I noticed the lack of women in technology, especially the lack of women of color. And I just want to be a part of that change. I want to be a role model for other girls who look like me, but too intimidating because they don't know anybody else who looks like them who's in the field. So I want to be a part of that change, the same change that you were just talking about.
Excellent, excellent. You're speaking about cyber, you're talking about law, you're talking about the legal field, and you're also speaking about technology. So many different aspects that maybe others may think, oh, they're not, that's not tech, or that's not a part of the tech industry. So, what is it that you like most about tech, and what advice would you give young women in the Caribbean who are more kind of like maybe in the humanities or in the creative fields, that could open up or like change their views about technology?
So I think that a lot of people have the stigma or the idea that tech is strictly coding. It's just coding, and I can't code. I don't like coding, so I'm not going to get into tech. But tech isn't just coding. So creatives can utilize tech in anything from digitization, editing, even promoting your brand online, virtually anything. I love that this tech industry gives us the opportunity to solve problems or even, how do you say, offer new solutions to problems that we didn't even know needed to be fixed. So the variety in this industry, it can be implemented in or combined with virtually any other industry, and creative industries are no exception. So just the variety and the flexibility of tech to be incorporated in any other industry. I love that.
Yes, yes, that's pretty amazing. I mean, especially I think one of the things would be like what we were discussing earlier in terms of gaming,
Yeah.
people would be there's so many um new ideas and things that you can be solving it with gaming to try and address a specific issue or something like that, which is so we've seen, for instance, in CGH hackathons of girls using gaming for younger students, put package for younger students to make them aware in terms of environmental actions and
Yeah,
save our oceans.
absolutely. All of these things. But I have noticed that many of our Caribbean islands still seem to have a limited demand for the highly technical computer science jobs. But we really don't know if there is the need for these. What do you think are some of the steps to take to make substantial change to propel the country from such a technologically deprived state to a state that allows us to fully utilize our degrees to develop our country in this area?
Ah, very interesting question. Okay, well, first of all, I would say, just to answer the first part of the question, yes, um, I think there's a lack of information that's out there in terms of the demand for the highly technical computer science jobs. There actually may be more demand for, I have one colleague from TTech, and I know he has spoken about the work that they're doing. That's a company here in Jamaica, and the need for more and more people in from other companies that I've spoken with as well, for more and more people in cybersecurity and cyber safety, cyber safety. But it may be that the those that would be looking for those jobs are not as aware of where the demand is. And I kind of think in the Caribbean, we're still doing a lot of the you want to be a doctor, a lawyer, a teacher, a nurse, right? You're shaking your head, Aaliyah, right? Or, like your dad in the police
Yeah,
force.
absolutely.
And not even, for instance, saying that I want to be in the police force, but I want to be in the police force focused on cyber safety. So that, you know, that's a whole different skill set and a whole different expertise that can be brought to bear. I think that the countries, I wouldn't say technologically, it's not that we are set back at any point, you know, in terms of the stage of development that we are. But I think that there's a lot more that's going on than people actually know about. So people who would be actually looking for the jobs and that kind of thing. So that's one. The other thing is that I know, as you know, that across the Caribbean, we're still very dynamic in terms of developing new legislation that would be it won't be in front because the tech industry is so rapid, so fast in terms of new things that are coming up, you know. So for instance, things like we have in terms of data privacy, like GDPR in Europe, they're working on developing the Caribbean data protection for different Caribbean countries, and even some countries like are at various stages. So Jamaica may be at one stage, Trinidad may be at another stage. So that's another thing that I think can be challenging because in terms of building out the tech industry, there may be a need to ensure that even though the tech industry is one that has been very dynamic and really has been a very organic also too, so even ahead of having legislation there, you know. So I think that that's one of the issues that could be challenging. But I think another thing as well also too is we really need to have a paradigm shift in terms of what makes you employable for the market, you know. As we know, I'm on the development side, not a tech expert, and yourself, you're in the tech training yourself. You know, a lot of the work that entities like Google and IBM, Microsoft, is all about their certifications, right? So I think we're still a lot in this mindset. Oh, do you have a bachelor's degree? You know, what's the degree that you have? Whereas the industry is really a lot about the expertise with the certifications and with those certificates, right? With those certifications being engaged as part of like local, regional, or international networks, then you have that opportunity to be working on a lot of different things using platforms like GitHub and that kind of thing, you know. So it's a complete paradigm shift that really needs to take place, I would say.
Absolutely, I agree.
Yeah, for sure. So as we're speaking, I'm thinking also about because we're talking about preparing to get into the work world. And so I'm thinking for yourself, Aaliyah, and for your colleagues or in your fellow students who are in your program, kind of like what kind of specific elements of tech do you think are most exciting for your career interests? And can you also share something that you've done in or with tech that you are excited about that you want to share and inspire other Caribbean girls?
I absolutely love how technology keeps evolving. It keeps me on my toes. So this coupled with the constant challenges that it comes with, it makes sure that you're never bored. Being an extrovert myself, one of my favorite elements of tech has to be working with the like-minded people and learning so much from them. A lot of people have the notion that a career in tech, there's hardly any interaction with others. But I've learned that that's one of the most important elements of a tech career. Last winter, I completed a internship, kind of like this one, at Cognizant Soft Vision. It was a team of four of us, young women, and we walked into that office with absolutely no prior experience about building an app, but walked out 3 weeks later with a functioning app, I must add, more confident and skilled with each other's help and the help of our amazing mentors. Seeing what we were able to do in such little time because of the relationships that we built with each other would be forever one of my most proudest moments. Absolutely, hands down.
Oh, that sounds inspiring. I think we definitely have to have you come, Alio, and speak to some of the the girls in the region about that experience and actually using, what were some of the tools and that kind of thing, to make it
Absolutely.
comfortable, and the time frame and everything that you're saying in terms of the team coming together and creating something there that really sounds very, very interesting. And so, Aaliyah, this is so amazing what you were just sharing about developing and creating that app. So with that in mind, what are some of your plans, some of your next steps in tech? What are some projects that you're going to be working on other than Caribbean Girls Hack?
Well, so right now I'm still in school. I'm on track to graduate with my bachelor's next spring. And until then, I'm just grabbing as much opportunities as I can and building my resume. So my aim is just to get as much experience in as many areas of tech that can help me to make a more informed decision of what particular subsector I see myself working in the future. So as I mentioned before, cybersecurity has always been on the top for me. This summer, I'm excited to participate in an internship with American Express, a cybersecurity internship. I'm also not sure if I'd like to pursue a PhD when I graduate, so I'm kind of dipping my hand in some cyber threat intelligence research. And this will be my final semester as a CUNY Tech Prep Fellow, where I'll be working on a data science project this spring as well. So I'm just kind of just delving into any sector of tech that I can to help me to decide what exactly I want to do when I graduate.
And this is so amazing to hear from you also, Aaliyah, because what you're saying there, you're talking about cybersecurity, you're talking about cyber safety, you're also speaking about data sciences, so many different aspects, right? Even with your interest, there are so many different aspects, and there are so many more that can be explored as well. So that is really great, and I'm sure that that will be quite encouraging for young ladies across the Caribbean and across the world to be hearing about, what you're doing there. So you are part of the amazing Breakthrough Tech program at CUNY and Cornell, right? That provides a community for tech girls. So I was just wondering, knowing our context in the Caribbean, across many different islands and that kind of thing, what are some of the benefits or some of the factors that you would like to share about being part of a women's tech community like Breakthrough Tech, that you would encourage other Caribbean girls? And this is not only for Caribbean girls, it's just that we're Caribbean people speaking. Girls from other island settings or, continental settings.
I think the best part of being a part of these communities, networking, hands down, networking, networking, networking. It really makes all the difference. Connecting with established women and even upcoming women in the field can introduce you to so many opportunities that can help you to propel your own career. They also offer a very amazing support system, a sort of family that can give you advice and encouragement when you need it most. Just seeing women like yourself make it to spaces you never dreamed of just gives you so much hope and motivation for your own path.
Well, I know, and I am so happy that we have met also through networking. So this is an example. And I tell you something, just to sidetrack for one little second, I always say to young ladies and to my daughters who are both, one is finishing up university and the other one is a graduate. If it's one thing that they should be having a lot more influence, focus on, Aaliyah, is networking.
Absolutely.
Okay. How do you pitch? How do you meet somebody? How do you go into a new setting, especially with the tools that you have now with LinkedIn, with LinkedIn Learning, with programs like IBM's Ambassadors, IBM Z, with so many different things. How do I get out there in anitab.org and say, hey, I'm interested in this?
Yep.
Whether you're on the other side, not being an extrovert like yourself, an introvert, how do you really get into that? Because networking is what it's all about for sure.
Yes, we actually we just met, we just started talking, and you were able to help me with so many things. You're able to introduce me to so many groups, so many people. Networking is phenomenal, actually, indeed,
Yes.
especially in these communities. But since this is a series about girls and women in tech, do you have any career or tech advice for girls or younger women in tech?
Well, what I would say is a lot about what we've been speaking about, that don't limit yourself in terms of, don't even limit yourself in terms of what you know is already out there. So, okay, we know that data science is one area. We know that AI is another area. We know that cyber is another area. Coding is another area. Digital marketing. Don't even limit yourself with that in terms of saying, I'm going to do a career only in this. I think it would be, because of the nature of technology, I think an approach to take is one where you can see what you're most comfortable with, but at the same time challenge yourself with trying something new. So maybe trying something in gaming, or maybe trying something in speaking as a part of a group, trying something in terms of actually joining a network, and then also to the complementarity of doing other things outside of tech, and then bringing that to your potential career in technology. And the thing about it also too is, Aaliyah, we don't even have to say it's not only about a career in technology. It's your future career using technology. So some people will be more embedded, in tech, but other people are going to be employing tech in what they're doing. I'll tell you. Let me give you a little example. So this lady is a medical doctor, and she is working at Google. And what's interesting there is that the program that she's working on, is that they're using AI to actually go through all of the information, Aaliyah, to say, because usually, or what I understand, because I'm not a medical doctor either, so if you have certain kinds of symptoms and they're trying to pin down exactly what maybe a tumor or a cancerous body is, muscle or disease, rather, not a muscle, disease is doing within your body, then they have to go through so much. Well, maybe it's doing this and maybe it's doing that. Well, Google, what she had shared that they're doing at Google is that they're using AI to do that kind of analysis. So, for instance, once it's taken a snapshot of what's happening in the individual's body, and they're able to pin down through analyzing so many millions of files of data. So you would say, oh, but I thought you were a doctor. You see what I mean?
It's a versatility. It's a versatility of it all.
Exactly. There's another young man that I know who is a medical doctor. He's a surgeon also. And he said, I want to use robotics. I want to be a robotic surgeon. So he's doing medicine, he is a surgeon, but now he's upskilling himself with even another area of expertise. So I think that that's the thing. It's that, what is it that you're interested, and what is it that you're passionate about in terms of your career? And then see how technology is complementing that, is enhancing that. And then, of course, there are also going to be those who are directly into tech and into coding and into using technology for everything, and our concerns in the Caribbean, from environmental management, from climate change, addressing all of those different kinds of issues.
Absolutely. And I just love how they're bringing to light new careers, new occupations that we never thought of, not the basic ones, But so what do you see as the future of this program? Where do you see it going in a few years?
Well, that's a great question to ask. As I said to you, the Caribbean Girls Hat program, we implement significantly with those through networking, with those partners who really are the tech experts, right? So you have RSC tech clubs in the Caribbean, you have IBM we've done some work with, very excited. we've done, amazing opportunities that the girls have had working with IBM. And we're looking at developing different programs and training and that kind of thing in mobile app development, in e-commerce, working with a number of different people. So one of the things that we're seeing, and even with local partners here also too, in Jamaica and in the Caribbean, is that we're moving to give the girls offerings where they actually will be doing that hands-on coding themselves. Because thus far, and through the Equals program, a lot of it could be, was that they had like toolkits that they're using. So because it's important that if you're going to be doing something that is introducing girls to tech or merging together those girls who are more tech savvy and those who are getting an introduction to it, that everybody is comfortable, So one of the things would be looking to do more coding opportunities for them and aligning with more coding opportunities. Another thing I tell you is amazing is mentorship, because like you were saying, having enough representative of Black representation of Black women. And then when it comes down to us at our country level, we also want to see, gosh, no, could I even be like an AI pathologist like this lady? Oh yeah, I know somebody who did that, So it opens up a possibility. You can't be what you can't see. So even if you're seeing somebody who, is in a different part of Asia, or a woman who has done so many amazing things, or a woman in a different part of Africa or Europe or America, it's very, very eye-opening and inspiring. So mentorship is a very important aspect. And one part of our program that thus far, to be honest, Jamaica has been the only place that's really taken up the offering, is with the university students for them to get into internships. And why are the internships? Just like you were talking about the internship you're going to be doing with American Express, but you're going to be looking at the cyber aspect of work, right? So the internships is so important. What has been extremely rewarding is to see that when because we have the hackathon and they're competing, so the winning prize for the university level students, that has had to be the university level students, because that's where you find, because pre-COVID, we're talking, so for the students to be able to go into a workforce, you have to be over 18 in terms of 18 or over, because of liability concerns. But it has been so rewarding. We have two sets of universities, NCU in Jamaica and UTech in Jamaica, that girls have done paid internships. The first one, the first group of 5 girls, they did a virtual internship with a company, a commercial entity, JN. And then after that, some of them got permanent positions. And then the other one that was done with UTech, which is another university in Jamaica, University of Technology, they did an internship that was sponsored by Spectrum Management Authority with eGov Jamaica Limited. And it was incredible, when the girls came back and said, oh my God, the stuff that we were learning at school, it was so incredible to see the real world applications of it. Right? So those are the things that were some of the things that we're looking to and looking for exciting. And then the other aspect as well, I would say, is that working more with partners across the region and with the commercial, not commercial, but corporates that we've been working with, who have community initiatives and programs that they themselves have been doing. And so this becomes a way that we can come alongside what they're already doing to bring tech as an additional aspect and an additional offering for the girls. And all of this is really the tip of the iceberg, because the work that we're doing at Caribbean Girls Hack is a key part of the important work of Equals, the ITU Equals, which is, the equal sign, right? Making females equal with men in terms of access, skills, and leadership. And so we are very excited to be a part of the Skills Coalition, to be helping and using our bringing the realities of the Caribbean to help to shape global programs for training for tech girls around the world. So very excited to continue to be doing that as well. And anybody who wants to contact us about new course offerings, we're very open to that as well too, right, Alex? Given everything that we're talking about, I think you've said so much, Aaliyah, that I know will be very inspiring for young women, as we've said, across the world, young women in the Caribbean as well. When they can hear the accent, they can say, hey, I know that person. And so from your home country, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, what are some of the messages that you would want to get out to them so that they would be even more inspired by what you've already shared?
So funny that you'd ask that right after talking about what you're talking about, because I am actually so passionate about mentorship and representation as well. It was actually a plan of mine, along with some other friends, to go back to our high school and have a talk with the students, sharing some advice on what we did to get where we are, and even start a small mentorship program with the girls there. Unfortunately, we were unable to do that last year because of COVID. But I do hope that we will be able to bring this to life in the near future. Nevertheless, one of my biggest motivators would always be that I want to be a role model to other Vincentian girls who never thought they could be an established woman in tech. So by putting my all into everything that I do, I hope to be an inspiration to them all. I hope that when they see the work that I've done, they use that as some motivation, to use that to know that they can do the same thing and so much more one day. My biggest piece of advice to them would be just believe in yourself. You are more than capable to do anything you set your mind to, and you're so worthy of all the good things the world has to offer. We're our own biggest critics, but if I can do it, so can you.
Thank you.
Thank you. This will wrap up our session of Talking Tech Women and Girls in ICT. This was an amazing session. Thank you so much, Nicole. I really enjoyed and learned so much from our chat today. And thank you to our viewers watching.
Thank you.